Yo, what up? I'm sitting here thinking, and I just got to get this out of my head. So I hit record. We'll see if I upload it. But I'm thinking about anti vax people. Sounds weird in here. I'm moving, by the way, so my bookshelf is gone. Just moved the TV. We're just going up one level. Um, the anti vax and pro vax thing, I've been engaging with a few different people who are, vaccine hesitant or anti vax. I know a lot of people who are pro vaccine. I guess, pro vaccine. I got vaccinated. I don't try to force this idea on anyone because that doesn't seem useful. But what I'm what I've realized by engaging mostly with the anti-vax, people through posts and things, and I think this is a problem with just about everything that's two-sided, is both sides are right. Like both sides have points that are correct, and they overemphasize the things that they're right about and de-emphasize the things that they're wrong about. So, for example, let's start with a pro-vaccine person. A pro-vaccine person is going to point to a lot of science, studies. Um, uh, that's primarily going to be their focus. Anyone who's pro-vaccine, they're gonna point to the science, and as far as I can tell, they are right there. Now, if we just flip to that point with the anti-vax or vaccine hesitant community, in my experience engaging with them, they claim to be about science, but what people really do is they choose a few select things that support their narrative, and they amplify some one scientist or some one paper. And I think by doing that, they're being kind of anti-science because you got to look at you want to look at all this stuff. But then let me get to the point of where an anti-vaxxer is correct, in many ways. They Anti-vaxxers have a distrust of large pharmaceutical companies, distrust of government, distrust of mainstream media, and this distrust forces them into a weird spot as far as it goes with looking at the science of a situation, because any entity that's presenting the science, unless you're like really digging through published studies or something, you're going to be seeing it promoted by mainstream media. Like that's where you're going to see it. But they have a distrust in mainstream media for legitimate reasons. You'll see the CDC's position on things, but then they're hesitant to believe the CDC for a number of reasons. And so you have like the pro-vaccine people who are on the side of science, and they're probably a little less concerned about issues with mainstream media or government or whatever. You got the anti-vax side, who claims to be about science, but as far as I can tell, not really. Like anytime someone's like, "Look at this," it hasn't been good so far. But that's kind of connected to like a distrust of, so if I present something else like, check this out, usually it'll tick some box with to make them not trust whatever I'm presenting, because it's from mainstream media, it's pharmaceutically backed, it's government backed. And what so I guess, rambling a little bit, but the point I'm making is, again, like people who are, let's say, pro-vaccine and pro-science, they'll diminish, the idea that the media manipulates things, which it does. They'll, like diminish the idea that, that there's people in power who, want to do different things. And what's unfortunate, and I keep, I'll upload this. Maybe someone watching this can help me process whatever I'm thinking about. But what I keep thinking about is that there seems to be a lack of a, oh, one other point for the a point in the anti-vax side is this issue with authority, which I think is also correct 99 times out of 100. You know, if a government and governments around the world are either really pushing something on people or even forcing it on people through actual force, which like I've seen articles from the Philippines where the president there, like I don't know if he's forcing, but he's pretty strong about, you know, needing to get vaccinated, or with soft force being something like nurses in the US at some institutions can't go back to work unless they get vaccinated. That's basically, unless they can financially afford that, is forcing them, right? Like I saw something, I can't remember, like a drummer in a band couldn't get vaccinated or doesn't want to get vaccinated for good or bad reasons, I don't know, and now he's been let go. Forgot the name of the band, but this authority thing is a good position to come from, but like the flip of that, and then this isn't even me trying to convince an anti-vaxxer of anything, but the like, if you're an anti-vaxxer or vaccine hesitant, like think about this. Think about if the vaccine was as safe as it needed to be and it was effective and everything, was good about it. I think anti-vaxxers would still fight it because this idea that, we shouldn't go along with what a bunch of corporations and governments are telling us to do. And that's a very fair, reasonable point. And this is what's unfortunate. I'll get back to the point I was going to make before I thought about this authority thing. But what's unfortunate is that it seems like people from both sides are unable to take the time to understand what the person on the other side, what they're thinking and feeling, and then even worse, just kind of like grouping a person, just throwing them into one group like it's binary when there's really like a spectrum of ways people are feeling. So again, just throwing someone, oh, you're anti-vax, you're dumb, you don't follow science, whatever, or oh, you're pro-vax, you're a sheep, you're dumb, like when you have 50% of people on both different sides, whatever it is, 30% on one side, there's smart people on both sides, and it's unfortunate that people can't just be nuanced with how they feel about it. So and this is where I'll end. This is my final thought is that it's really unfortunate, and I don't know what actually I have some ideas for solutions that are technical and involve the blockchain and whatever, and they'll probably come in the future. I'm not the only one thinking about them. There's other people thinking about them. But what's unfortunate is that there isn't there's nowhere we can get consensus on something. Ideally, and what I mean by that, ideally the CDC, let's say the CDC, whether you're, conservative or liberal or on the right or on the left, we could look at the CDC and say, okay, the CDC is saying this, we all agree, but that's not the case. Or if there was a news publication that people on two sides of an issue would look at and be able to trust the science or the whatever from that publication, that would be nice, but that doesn't appear to exist. And I think that's the key problem is that there is no point of consensus where you can bring two, just focusing on the vaccine, like people from two different sides, and this side in the middle is able to speak to both sides, like to speak to the because nobody's being, I mean, there are stupid people in the world, but to label someone stupid because they're anti-vax or vaccine hesitant, or label someone stupid because they're pro-vax, or like if you're doing that, I'm gonna label you as stupid. Like, it's dumb to just automatically call someone stupid because they disagree with you. And yeah, if there was a way to have, like, there's not enough places in the middle where the points, positive and negative from both sides, can be discussed and dissected, and then once this happened, distributed, so we can get. And it's funny, I'm gonna say get everyone on the same page, but I think that's a part of the like, get everybody on the same page, but without forcing them, right? Like, nobody, we have, there's things in the world, no one's arguing about whether you need oxygen or not. No one's arguing about whether you need to eat food or drink water. No one's arguing about there's some people out there talking about maybe they can go without sleep, but yeah, no one's arguing about the need for sleep. No one's arguing about the need for exercise and nutrients. No one's arguing about, that, like, being overweight isn't healthy. And it would be nice if we could get. I should end this video, but I'll just keep going. Like, I should pull out my podcasting equipment, and I could have made this a podcast episode. Maybe I'll still do that. But, I just wanted to throw, because these are the two things I think about, that I'm thinking about the most at the moment. The first one just being this vaccine thing, because it's all over everywhere. And it finally made it to Taiwan, where now people are having that discussion here because shops are closed, or they're kind of reopening now and everything because the virus is here. But the same thing is, it's interesting with so many issues. I'll stop. I'll save it for the podcast. Anyhow, if there's something in there that you can comment on, like, I'm still very, very interested in resources from people who are vaccine hesitant or anti-vax. I actually love the videos that I got shared on Facebook and the articles and everything, just because I want to see the world that a person is in when they're coming from that anti-vax position, because as far as I can tell, the science is clear. And to comment on the science again, because one of the debates that popped off in this Facebook post I made in a group was a guy was just really hammering home the point that the vaccines aren't 100% safe, and that the vaccines there's these serious things that happen with the vaccine, and he keeps pumping this, and he's pumping that the media hides it, and I will agree. Like, I'm sure the media isn't going out of its way to showcase where the vaccine has failed, but what's interesting is I don't know where the narrative that the vaccines are 100% safe is coming from, because all of the science that I'm familiar with, the things that I've gone through, there are risks. This is what's interesting. Like, he was saying that pro-vaccine people are saying there's no risks to taking the vaccine, and there absolutely are. Another point from the people who are vaccine hesitant or anti-vaccine is that there hasn't been a long-term study on the vaccine, and we don't know, we don't know what might happen long term as a result of taking the vaccine. This is true. Like that's true. But it's funny. The flip side is we also don't know what the long term effects of COVID are. And when you look at the numbers, it's like, do I want to risk the long term effects of the vaccine versus COVID? Like the vaccine makes sense. I'm just thinking about all the things that the people are vaccine hesitant. They point out that I don't even know what the actual death rate of COVID is. It's, if it's 1%, if it's, a percent of a percent, if it's 2%, I don't know what it is, but that's, one of the big, the big points that people make as a reason to not get the vaccine. And I get that too. Like it's hard to crunch the numbers and understand how they work at scale. But for anyone who thinks that the numbers of death from COVID, and this is another problem. If you're don't trust the government, you don't trust these numbers. Like there's nothing I can do or anyone can do for that. But if you look at like death, total numbers of death, you can see the spike that COVID has created. Yeah. Any of your thoughts or comments? I got this thought out of my head. I'll just go ahead and upload it. I would appreciate any of your feedback, or why you're pro-vaccine, why you're anti-vaccine, links, resources. I love it. I love checking it out. Anyway, haven't made a video in a little while. Gotta moving upstairs. All right, guys. Peace. Love you.